Buckled here, helping you make every class Catholic. When I do my workshops with teachers, sometimes I'll come up to a group, and sometimes you can spot them before you get there. Like I come up to a group and say, okay, what's this table working on? And when it's the phys ed teachers and the sports coaches, sometimes you can tell by what they're wearing, before you have to ask them what table it is, right? But anyways, one of the things that will happen is you'll walk up to this group, and sometimes they can feel like it doesn't really apply to them, right? Because they're just learning skills and playing the games. Not always, by no sense always. Sometimes they have a very clear sense of team sports or individual sports and phys ed as forming the human person. But sometimes you have to break through a bit of a wall first. And so a couple times in my travels in the last month, I had interesting interactions at the phys ed table. Before I tell you about those, I just want to let you know about the new Making Every Class Catholic newsletter that you can subscribe to over on Substack. It's going to come out every month. It's a free newsletter with lesson plan prompts, ideas, resources, quotes, all kinds of things to help you make every class Catholic. So check out the link in the description. Go over and subscribe on Substack. And while you're at it, why not subscribe to the YouTube channel here if you haven't already, and like this video so that the algorithm knows that it's good stuff that it should be sharing with more people. Both in at St. Brendan's Catholic High School in Miami and up in Fort McMurray, Alberta, last week, I came up to the phys ed table, and they were sort of like, well, what do you got? Like, we don't have anything. We're not really sure this even really applies to us. And it doesn't take long to ask a few questions, and then they start getting excited about ideas, right? So one of them was, they realized that phys ed, this was in Fort McMurray, they said phys ed is not just physical. They talked about the mental aspect of playing a sport, right? So you have to, let's say, the bases are loaded and it's a full count. You better have your head in the game because you might be a really great hitter. I mean, you could read Casey at the bat, you could be a really great hitter, but if for whatever reason your head wasn't in it, you can miss that opportunity, and you can multiply examples of this. So one of the first things that we learned from phys ed is that even the physical is not physical, is not merely physical, right? But that the human person is this complex reality that has the mind and the emotions, and that these all play into what we're trying to achieve physically. And so as we talked about that integrated vision of the human person with their intellectual life and their emotional life and how that relates to their ability to perform at the physical level, we noticed the language from the Olympics, right? When we watch the Olympics, this is, I think, a fascinating thing to notice. We're watching these bodies, right? These human bodies at the peak level of performance, the most amazing thing human bodies have ever achieved, jumping higher and running faster, right? But we don't say that we're witnessing the triumph of the human body. We say, in fact, we're witnessing the triumph of the human spirit. And when we see an incredible athletic performance, we are not first, this is very interesting, we are not first sort of stunned by the incredible capacity of the body, even though that's really impressive, right? If you look at Usain Bolt and you say, like, has there ever been a sprinter built like that whose body could do what his body can do, right? That's like perfect balance of like the height, so he has the long enough legs, but not so long as to be too awkward to be a really good sprinter, right? And okay, his body is incredible for doing what he does, but we know that even in a case like that, for him to be able to achieve what he achieved, it took a bunch of spiritual things, right? It took discipline, it took commitment, it took the ability to be calm in the moment, right? It took all these what you would call spiritual realities to be able to perform at the highest level of the body. And so one of the things we learned with these phys ed teachers is that phys ed is physical, but it's not just physical. And what we see in the practice of sports and exercise and training is a picture of a human person that is much more than a merely physical body. And so one of the things we do with all the subjects is we say, what does this teach us about the human person? What kind of creature engages in this? And we see in phys ed something unique about the human person through the way we participate in sports and athletics, a physical creature that is much more than a physical creature. Hope that's helpful for you, phys ed teachers. God bless.